Your friends are scrolling through short content, but you, my friend, you're here to learn. Welcome to TRS Clips. What was your initial rituals like though? Like, what did you end up doing? Are you allowed to talk about it?
Well, I mean, there's certain things I'm allowed to talk about, but Vimalananda never encouraged. There's, Agora is a wide range of things. So, in my personal case, there is offering blood. Sometimes I offer blood. In the past, I have not done it for a long time. I've also made offerings of menstrual blood, which is a much stronger kind of offering because it is much more, it has the energy of bringing things into manifestation in this plane of existence. So working with that energy it's a strong downward into the earth element moving energy. And if you want it to have a spiritual effect, you have to make sure that you are allowing that to be offered to the earth element and then moving the energy back up in the direction of not simply getting stuck in the earth element. So that's one thing. Working with the skulls is another thing. Spending time in the smashan is another thing. Working with nasha, with intoxicants, that's another thing.
Have you done that?
I have. And for several years, Vimalananda said, I had done that before I came to India. And then for several years, he wouldn't allow me to take any. And then he started getting me back into taking intoxicants. And the idea of the intoxicant is that it temporarily changes your way of organizing your personality. It changes your perspective. And if you can, the idea is not to let yourself get carried away by whatever your personality might want you to do, but to take that focus and put it on whatever devata you're trying to focus on. And that can be a very useful kind of thing. And the third thing that I personally have worked with, and again, it's not something I deliberately did, but it's something that has come to me kind of automatically, is, one of the Sanskrit words is avesha, means allowing various things, devatas, and sometimes other things to enter yourself and express themselves through you.
You've experienced that?
Yes. Again, that's something definitely you don't want to do on your own. You want somebody to say, this is the direction you need to go in. Vimalananda used to do this regularly. He would call in Kinarama Aghori sometimes. He would call in a devata like Hanuman or like Tara. And sometimes he would call in some other saint. So he would deliberately do that. I'm at a much more primitive stage. So that is something that, and he said, don't expect that you're going to be able to summon things in. They will come when it is the right time, provided that you keep yourself aligned in the right direction. And if you don't, you will find that something will come in that you'll have to deal with. And it will take probably quite a bit of time to deal with that.
Something darker.
Something darker, or not even necessarily darker, something that is simply stronger than you are at that moment to deal with. May not necessarily be darker, might be very good, but might be something that you're not capable of dealing with at that point.
From the episodes we did with Rajarshi Nandi sir, I learned that these things, avesham, is a very high level of practice. So the fact that you're saying you've done it means you actually went past a lot of levels of practice.
But there are so many levels. You see, it's like one of the most important things to do is not think that you have achieved something important. Whatever you may have achieved, there's always something beyond. So and there's a giant difference between simply acting as a host for those things and being able to request them deliberately to enter your body. So the day that I'm able to do that successfully will be the day that I will think, maybe now I have actually achieved something.
Are you comfortable sharing the perspective of what it felt like for the first time with something else inside you?
Well, the first time was even before I went to, when I was still a teenager in the U.S. And at that time, I didn't even know it was happening. I blacked out. I wasn't that I blacked out. I was not present for a while, and I came back to me, and people said, "Wow, I mean, you were talking about this and that and the other thing," and I thought, "Whoa, that's really interesting," because I don't remember any of that because I was not there.
You were practicing tantra in USA?
No, this had nothing to do with anything other than being in a particular state where I was open to that.
Where were you physically?
I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I was a typical teenager, and I was consuming various illicit substances, and I think on that day I just had a lot to drink.
So the alcohol actually opened up some channel.
Exactly, without having any clue that this was going to happen.
You're carrying something from your past life.
Must be. Everybody is carrying things from their past lives. And it must be the case that I'm carrying things, because otherwise I wouldn't have this alignment with that and with the skulls and with Vimalananda and with all that kind of stuff. And, for me, Bombay is very much like a smashan, because I, with Vimalananda, cremated his father and his kaka, his paternal uncle, and I cremated him.
Wow. Okay. This changes this conversation for me a lot.
And I mean, let me just throw this in, just to, this is not, if you're meant for this kind of thing, you don't have to go looking for it. So back in November, 3 months ago, I think it was like the 11th or 12th, I was in the fort in my place in Bombay, and I had had a very nice day. I had met a kid that I had first met at his naming ceremony 45 years earlier when he was this size. So I met him again for the next time, and we talked about how to get his father to let go of a piece of land and I knew his father, and for several years, and Vimalananda had given the name to this boy. So it was great to see him again. It was nice. And I was thinking, gosh, what a nice day it's been. 8:15 p.m. The doorbell rings. I go to the door, and it's the kid who's the guard at the front of the building. And he says, "You're a doctor, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, but I haven't been practicing for a while." He said, "Well, it's not for someone who's sick. It's for somebody, we need to know whether they're dead or not." So I put on a mask, and all day long I had been smelling something dead. And I had been wondering, I looked down, I looked around, there was nothing obviously dead. I wondered, what could this be? I walked up one flight of stairs, literally directly above my head, and I realized the smell was coming from that. And there were two policemen breaking down the door. And we broke down the door. There was no electricity in the flat. So one policeman and I went in, he had a torch, and we were talking about, I don't know, whatever we were talking about in Hindi or Marathi or whatever. The kitchen, and the flat looks exactly like mine, so I know where everything is. The kitchen door has been wired shut. There's all kinds of trash on the floor. There's all kinds of trash in the bathroom area. We go into the bedroom that is literally just above my head. The trash is this thick, and there is a body that is lying there naked on top of the trash that has obviously been dead for a day and a half or two or so on.
Killed?
It didn't. There wasn't any obvious wound or anything. And he was a very antisocial kind of guy, so nobody was looking in on him. And so the policeman shifted to English to be more official, and he said, "Can this man be taken to be dead?" I said, "He can be taken to be dead." And I had to sign off on that with my medical registration. It's the the one most official act that I have performed with my medical license here in India. But I mean, I don't have to go to the smashan, though I go to Banganga regularly since I've cremated people there. I love going to the cremation grounds, but the cremation, the dead people come in my direction. right above, literally above my head. So that doesn't happen to everybody.
Have you ever interacted more with dead bodies, like as a part of your rituals?
Not in any way to try to, for any other reason than to move them in the direction of cremating them, not to try to do any sadhana with them, because I wasn't told to. Because this is not the sort of thing you want to experiment with unless you really know what you're doing. And I am following what Vimalananda told me to do, because then I know that if I do something beyond that, I will have trouble.
So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this playlist for more videos just like this. It's TRS Clips.